Let's see if they can turn two. There's one. And there's two.
It's a pretty big fish to fry. It's a pretty big fish to fry. My. It's a pretty big fish to fry. It's a pretty big fish to fry. My. Last weekend I barely thought I'd make it out alive. Told myself I'd take time and give the world a try. I was alive. My.
Oh, everybody, it is Wednesday, July the 5th, 2017. You're checking out the premiere. That means number one sports and beer podcast coming to you from New Jersey. New Jersey solo tonight, actually. So thanks for taking the time to listen, everybody. We definitely appreciate everything you do to make this show what it is. Our numbers continue to climb. Shout out to Tokyo. If I knew how to speak any Japanese, I would, but I'm pretty sure that the guy over there listening definitely speaks English. This is the Turn 2 Sports and Beer podcast. My name is Jeff. I have a panel of boys here ready to talk some sports, but before we do that,
why don't you go back home to your strip malls and drink your Zimas and Smirnoff Ices? Oh yeah! The greatest beer in all the world!
Somebody from the bar.
Yeah, I like cool beverage, yeah. I like cool beverage, yeah. I like cool beverage, yeah. Cause I'm feeling kind of parched. Stick it in the fridge, 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 stick it in the fridge.
So tonight's drink that I have right now is from Avery Brewing Company. It is El Gose. I don't know if any of you have had that. It's 4.5% alcohol by volume. It has been kicking around in my refrigerator for, I guess, about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Needless to say, it's not my favorite Avery beer that I've had, and that's why it's been in my refrigerator for 2 or 3 weeks. But Salud and Prost is what it says on the can. So I'll offer that up to you as I pass the metaphorical baton to Brett.
Oh, thanks. I got my drinking done. I'm drinking Gatorade right now.
Ooh, you fired.
What the hell? I got my drinking done early today. I had about a dozen Bud Lights at like 1 o'clock at the stadium. So I'm out. If I have another beer, I'm gonna throw up.
Nice.
So I'm out for drinking for the show, but I did get my drinking in today. You gotta listen. No days off, like LeBron says. No days off. You got to be, no matter what time it fits into your schedule, you got to be hitting it hard. So I did it this morning.
So you had Miller Lights.
I was Bud Lighting today.
Bud Light.
Boo. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely boo. I
Yeah.
definitely would boo that. Nick Parsippany, what's up?
I dug into my old variety pack of Flying Fish. I know Paul likes these, right?
They're great. They're better when they're not 4 months old, though.
Yeah, 5 months old. Abbey Double. It's a nice brown ale, malty, very heavy. Not really a summer beer, but I'll drink it.
And making his triumphant return, which means that his child is actually asleep.
Not even close, actually. You're going to hear him in the background.
Well, we'll welcome Austin now when he comes on. But from the whip, we got Paul.
It's good to be back. I know Brett mentioned that, I'm off the schneid. I wiped down this really icy cold beer with my golf towel that I won at the Freeland Open. What Brett didn't tell you, though, is that I was also a pin seeker from like 100 yards in.
I did not share that story. You were unbelievable.
Anyway, I have a Sweetwater Brewing Company Hash Session IPA, 4.2%. That's a session, so a little lower alcohol. It's okay. It's not the best IPA I've ever had. I will not get it again, but it's from Georgia. The bottle looks pretty cool, so they wrote me in. But that's what I got. It's not the best beer I've had.
Okay. Well, welcome back though. Welcome back. We're happy to have you back. Brett, do you remember the first time you saw Sweetwater?
Do I remember the first time I saw Sweetwater? No. Why should
The
I?
first time I saw it, I was with you. I don't know if this was the first time you saw it, but it was at Bonnaroo,
Oh, that I mean, then definitely probably the first time I saw it.
right? They were in like the beer tent at Bonnaroo.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
we're talking early Bonnaroo. This is before like Drake would play Bonnaroo. Like this was like,
Before Drake.
yeah, this was like
But after mushrooms.
This is when Government Mule was headlining like 2 out of 3 nights of
Yeah, with widespread panic in there in between. Yeah.
But that was the first place that I saw.
That makes sense. Then that's definitely the first place I saw it.
Yeah. So good times. Well, welcome everybody. Happy to have you back, Paulie. I wanted to lead off tonight with something a little bit aside from what we normally do. For me, Wimbledon just kicked on this week. Well, really last week, but so
It's England though, so it's last week is this week.
right.
us.
Time zone difference. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Good call. See, that's why we have you here, just to for clarity purposes. But it got me to think about bucket list things that I would like to do, and I think we've mentioned this before on this show. But for me, going to Wimbledon is definitely on my bucket list. I remember every summer, I would sit down on my couch in the mornings, and breakfast at Wimbledon would come on NBC, and they'd have the strawberries and the cream on TV, and they'd make a big spectacle out of it. And I remember rooting for guys like Boris Becker and watching like Steffi Graf play and Monica Seles and her stupid grunting. Like I remember these things really, really vividly from my childhood, and it's not your go-to big-time sporting event in a mainstream way. But for some reason, for me, I'm just compelled that at some point in my life, that's on my bucket list. I need to get there. I need to have breakfast at Wimbledon one time, there. And clearly, you're never going to get seats in center court unless you're, a millionaire, or unless you've done something to get them illegally. But that for me is that's my bucket list thing. And I had a buddy that went last year, and he said it was incredible. Didn't sniff center court, but it was still just the atmosphere was terrific. To me, the atmosphere's got to be similar to going to like a football game at Notre Dame, where like you can walk the grounds when there's nothing going on, and then the next day you go there and there's a game, and it just feels like a totally different place. So that's my bucket list thing. I've asked the guys to come up with their own. I guess we'll go to Brett next.
Center court, CENTRE.
Yes, of course.
Which I like.
Centre.
I like what. Yeah, I like seeing that pop up, and there's that green grass there, man. I'm with you. I would love to see Wimbledon. And in that vein, I started thinking, I was like, all right, maybe I wouldn't call Wimbledon esoteric or anything like that, but what, out of the norm, not Super Bowl, World Series, NBA championship, Stanley Cup, would I like to go to? What event? And when it came down to it, finally, I just decided, you know what, man, I would love to see the Kentucky Derby. I want to wear bright colors or dress up like Andy Bernard in The Office. And I want to drink mint juleps, and I want to watch old 80-year-old women have ridiculous hats, and I want to make fun of them. And then I want to sit down and I want to watch the most famous race in history while I root for some ungodly exacta that I just whipped up like a couple minutes before to see if I can, shout out to Yampo, see if I can make a couple dollars on a bet. But it's just something, I don't know, hearing them sing whatever that silly song is, My Old Kentucky Home, and getting the trumpets going.
Those good trumpets.
There's something about it, man. Some sort of thing, and I watch 1 to 3 horse races a year, and the one is always the Kentucky Derby. And since I've been a kid, this is it's on my bucket list too. It's where I want to go. It's something I'd love to see.
Didn't the still suspended Sean do? He didn't do the Derby, right? What did he say he did?
Either Preakness or Belmont. Is that possible?
He said he did the Preakness. Didn't he do his Preakness for like his bachelor party or something?
Yeah. I think it was the Preakness.
Yeah.
That's in Maryland, right?
Yeah.
Belmont is in New York.
Yeah. The third leg of the Triple Crown. All right, Nikki.
Brett, that was a good choice, Kentucky Derby. I think we'd all like to do that. But I was thinking more.
Hold on, just before you get there, like the Kentucky Derby is a thing that, like, I feel like you don't even have to have a clue what the hell's going on.
No, absolutely no idea. Absolutely no idea.
You can jump in that and have a good time, like as long as you're willing to put a couple drinks in you and just enjoy what's going on around you. You don't have to know a damn thing about horse racing to enjoy that event.
Absolutely not.
So
another one though, I want to go a little more south in the country, to Daytona Beach, Florida. I would love to go to the Daytona 500. There's something about drinking a lot of Miller Lights with a cutoff T-shirt while you're really sweaty, like you have that crotch sweat that like conjoins your balls and your ass. So you just like
what do you call it? Barre on Saturday.
Yeah, just total swamp ass, dripping sweat. Yeah, you stand next to some guy with tattoos of spiders and knives on his arm, and you're just enjoying yourself while these people are screaming. You're just plastering, getting hammered, drinking beer all day while cars race by at 200 miles an hour. I mean, there's something about that that's just really enticing.
Have you been to a race at all? Like any race?
No, never.
Brett, have you?
I'm dying, but no.
Paul?
Nope.
Yeah, so we're all striking out on that one. But I have heard, similar to what I said to the Derby, I have heard that NASCAR, there is just ridiculous. A buddy of mine at work has an RV, and they went out to one of the races. I guess out in the Poconos, right?
Yeah.
He said that the in-race experience is so much better than any sporting event has. Is when you go and you're on the infield there, and you bring your RV, they give you basically a portable device that you can tune into whatever you want. So if you wanted to just sit there and listen to Danica, like watch Danica Patrick's in-car dash cam and her pit crew talk, you can just do that for the entire race, or you can bounce back and forth, or you can go to the Fox feed or whatever it is. And I was like, wow. the fact that the NFL is not doing that is insane to me.
Yeah, that's got to be something they should jump on soon, right? Personalizing the camera angles.
Yeah,
I think that would be pretty cool.
Just having everyone mic'd up would be entertaining, I guess, would be
or dangerous.
Yeah, it'd be very dangerous for the players. I mean, you really got to watch what you're saying. Some of that trash talk.
Well, that's why I wonder if like there's a disclaimer for that NASCAR stuff. Like, if you're going to listen to the pit crew talk, like you can't tell me that the pit crew is PG.
What do you think they're saying? All I'm imagining them saying is being like, shake and bake. Let's shake and bake. That's all I would yell the entire time.
Get going.
Yeah. Probably what it is. Now you see me, now you don't. Probably all it is.
Magic Man.
Over and over again. That's good. Paulie, what do you got?
I mean, how do I follow up thinking about Brett in bright colors and a big fedora and Nick's freaking ball sweat? I mean, one event that's kind of always
these hot guys.
One event that always seems kind of interesting to be a live spectator at would be a FIFA World Cup game, specifically overseas, I think. I mean, it's kind of like, the Olympics. It's not every year. So there's definitely, a scarcity. So you only see it so many times in your life. I think the soccer crowds it's a different group of people. I mean, to see those fans chanting, 100,000 people rooting for their country. I think it'd just be something kind of out of the norm. I think it'd just be a completely different experience from anything that we have over here in the States. And, it's once every 4 years I get to care about soccer. So
would you go to a USA game, you mean, or just any game?
I think, I'd go to a USA game just to be patriotic, but I think like a intense European rivalry, some kind of like Italy, Germany, some kind of crazy game like that would just be off the charts to see.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Paul,
how about like a joint game with like the Allied versus Axis powers from World War II?
Oh, good. That's good.
It's deep.
Is Drago playing?
Paul, are you going with Vuvuzelas or no Vuvuzelas?
I think you have to go Vuvuzela. If for nothing else, if a fight breaks out, you have a weapon.
Okay. It's a good point. It's good. Always keep your head in a swivel. I like that.
You have to.
Safety first.
In a sport where referees get killed, and if a goalie lets in a goal,
He gets hanged.
His whole family gets kidnapped.
You don't want that own goal.
You kind of get the own goal is the worst.
You don't want that.
I mean, that's just a death sentence.
It is interesting though. Like I think where you just concluded for us definitely fits the mold of what I was talking about here, right? Because I don't think if there was a soccer game, like if the United States was playing a friendly against Portugal at MetLife Stadium, nobody on this panel would pay to see that. But if you had an opportunity to go to a World Cup game, I think everybody would, right? I mean, it's just something like you said. Every 4 years, I think it's attractive in a way that not many conventional American sporting events are. So good stuff there. I got a couple of people checking in. Anthony Sanfilippo says his sports bucket list is he'd like to go see some Olympic track and field. That's kind of unique. JP DeMoro, the Iron Bowl, Alabama versus Auburn. Again, I think that one is kind of in mainstream American sports, right? With college football, but interesting stuff. Stuff.
You know what would have been awesome back in the day? Like back in the heyday, seeing a heavyweight fight.
Yeah.
Like a heavyweight championship fight. I mean, it lost its luster
like,
now, but
are you looking like
John Cena versus Hulk Hogan?
Ali Frazier? Or like heyday, like Tyson?
I mean, if I could have jumped on a Tyson fight, I think that would have been the ultimate spectacle.
Yeah, that'd be great. All 45 seconds of the fight.
I mean, he could eat someone's face. It happened.
Which he's done, yeah.
Except for if you were in like Tokyo and you were like, I'm gonna watch him beat up this chump, and then Buster Douglas takes him out.
Oh, yuck.
I did have the opportunity. You mentioned Hulk Hogan, Nick. I did in a non-conventional sporting or sports entertainment event. I did have the opportunity to, and I'm not alone on this panel, to see Hulk Hogan take on the biggest movie star of our generation.
That was such a great match.
It really was, right?
When was this?
2002?
A long time ago, yeah.
2002 or 2003.
Yeah, Hogan Rock.
At
I
the
think
Garden?
2002. No, in Toronto, WrestleMania.
Toronto?
Yeah, at the Sky Dome.
Tell that story.
You know what was great about that, Jeff, was that at the time, Hogan was the face and The Rock was heel?
No, it's not how it was, because the NWO had just come into WWE, right?
Okay, so reverse that. So The Rock...
Hobo life.
Hogan came in as heel.
Okay, so Hogan comes in as heel. Rock's doing his Rock thing. And I don't know what happened. I really don't even remember what happened. But in like an instant in that crowd, the crowd just flipped sides and started chanting for Hogan. And he's looking around doing his Hogan thing, like, I mean, it's bad visual. Obviously, this is a podcast, but looking around and putting his hand up to his ear, and all of a sudden the place is going nuts. And everything The Rock does, the whole place boos The Rock, starts cheering Hogan. And then for Hogan being at that time 109 years old,
right?
It wound up being a fun match.
It was awesome. It was two guys. Two like serious professionals understanding what the hell they were doing.
Yes.
Like because they went into that match, it was booked one way, and they both did a double swerve in the middle of the match.
Yeah, we flipped it in the middle of the match.
The interesting thing about all that is I've heard Kevin Nash talk about that, is like they were supposed to go down to the ring and beat The Rock down. And in the middle of the match with everything going like that, Vince McMahon went and was like, yeah, no, Hogan's going to turn on you. You're going to go down the ring. You got to tell him he's got to beat you up. So it's like, what? Like, it's just such a peek behind the curtain. But that was awesome. We were on the floor of the Sky Dome. That was a really cool random sporting event to be at too.
That was fun. That was definitely fun. We were like 19 years old. We could drink legally.
Yep.
In Canada.
We thought it was the greatest thing in the world to go get Molson Triple X's. They were like 7% alcohol. We were like, these are so strong.
Which is stronger than anything that was out at the time. So it was good. But yeah, that was dumb.
And the last note of the segment comes from Anthony, who's checking in on Facebook. He was there with us. He said, and Jibo had pies. So let's talk about the NBA. Much to the chagrin of some people that we maybe talk too much NBA here, you can't ignore the NBA after the last week that's gone on there. What's happened, Nick, in the last week that has you either scratching your head or really applauding the franchise that made the move?
I guess the Gordon Hayward signing was probably one of the biggest news of the week. The Celtics obviously get a top-end player in Gordon Hayward. I don't think that necessarily closes the gap with the Cavs in terms of them overtaking Cleveland, but I think it puts them in a nice position to continue to build for the future, which makes me upset because I hate Boston. But I'm thinking, once LeBron starts getting older, maybe the big three with Love, Kyrie, and LeBron breaks up eventually, and I think the Celtics are in prime position to take over the Eastern Conference.
It just seems like everybody's leaving the Eastern Conference, right? Like everybody's like you got Paul George going to Oklahoma City, which was huge, even though it might be just a 1-year rental. There's no dominant player left.
Carmelo
For LeBron. But here, all right. First of all,
Stay mellow.
You're making jokes, but realistically, I'm looking at the East, and the same way I did last year, I'm like,
are you talking yourself into 50 wins already?
I'm like,
All we need is Derrick Rose.
if they get one piece, like, and they don't have to play the dopey triangle, like, I'm not saying it should be Derrick Rose, but if they get one piece, like they could make the playoffs. They're not gonna be good, but they could make the playoffs. The East is that bad.
God, Malik Monk would have fit pretty well.
I hate you.
Yeah, I think so too.
I hate you. I can't even talk about it.
Hey, here's something I learned.
Yeah.
Gordon Hayward, white guy.
Yeah, white guy.
You
Didn't know that.
You just learned that?
Didn't know that. Didn't know that. Another one I learned. Wait, Steve Mills, black.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either. So I learned two things this week in the NBA. It weirdly had to do with race, but I learned those two things.
You had talked in our text message about the max contract that the Nets offered somebody.
Oh yes, I don't even know his name. What
Otto Porter
If
Jr.
you didn't know who Gordon Hayward that he was white, then you can't be saying you don't know who Otto Porter is.
Well, no, I don't. Here's the funny thing.
That's like an example of who the hell is Jay Bruce.
That happened. No, it doesn't mean I've never heard of Gordon Hayward before. I've heard of Gordon Hayward, just didn't know his skin color.
You remembered him probably, to be honest with you, you probably knew him better in college because he played for those Butler teams. He played against Duke in the national championship game. His three was the three that didn't go down.
Yeah, but he looked like a doofus in college.
Yeah, but he also has played his entire professional career in Utah, which we love Utah. You're big listeners of our.
Yeah, don't go hurt in the marketplace.
But I'm going to be honest with you, and the East Coast bias, you don't catch many Jazz games. You just don't.
No.
You don't catch many
any Jazz games. Not many.
I mean, if you have the NBA ticket, you do. But if you don't catch Warriors games unless you're making the commitment to stay up until 2:00 in the morning on the East Coast. So, that's the shame of the whole thing is that we're missing an entire half of the league in a lot of ways.
I remember the insanity to me. Yes, you're right. We are missing half the league, so that's probably what happened with me and Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, that's why you thought he was black.
But I don't know. In my head, he was just a black guy. I don't know. But I remember this. It had to be either 2007 or 2008. And I remember pulling up on ESPN.com that Monta Ellis got a $60 million contract.
And you thought he was white.
And the first thing, it was literally like, who the fuck is Jay Bruce? First of all, I was like, who the fuck is Monta Ellis? And how is this man worth $60 million? Now, the Otto Porter thing is the same thing for me. I'm looking at this guy. $100 million to this guy. How is that money even conceivable? In what world is that guy worth $100 million?
Defend it, Nick.
17, he is.
Defend it, Nick.
I'm gonna defend it. Listen, the Nets, their strategy over the last 2 years has been, let's find all the restricted free agents and let's offer them max contracts because they're pretty good players. But what that will do is force the teams that they're on to match it, or else they'll lose the players. And Otto Porter is one of those guys that last year he averaged 13 and 6. He's 24 years old, so he's an up-and-coming star and obviously not worth $100 million. But the Wizards are like, hey, well, we don't want to take a chance that he turns into a stud, so we're not going to just let him walk. So we're just going to match the offer the Nets do, which they're probably going to do over the next 2 days, and we'll be stuck paying him $25 million a year.
But that's insane. That seems like a horrible strategy.
I mean, let's not call the guy a star either. 13 points a game. I
So
mean,
he could be. He's only 24.
but the Nets, I mean, that's
Eddie
what they
Curry
that's-
could have been a star too. Let's start anointing people freaking stars when they're averaging 13 and 6 and giving them max deals. That's what pushed Isaiah Thomas out of town.
I mean, what else are the Nets supposed to do, though? I mean, there's no draw to come to Brooklyn. The team's going to be terrible. The only thing they can do is overpay for these marginal players, and that's the only way they're going to maybe catch lightning in a bottle and get a year's worth of Linsanity.
Now, my understanding of this is that he will not be a Net. Is that right?
I would say 90% chance he's not.
Right. Which I get it from the Nets' perspective, right? That's a chess move. That makes sense to me. Actually writing the check to him does not make sense to me. That like what you're doing. I forget which one of you said it. Nikki, you or Paul said that it's just what it does is they want to make sure he doesn't turn into a stud. It seems insane to me that the cost of that is we're gonna have to pay $100 million to make sure this guy's possibly doesn't do good somewhere else.
Right.
I just think it'd be funny though. It's like the Wizards are putting on this front on they're going to match the contract, and then Nets sign it, and they're like, "Well, you can take him. We're not going to do it." And the Nets are like, "Well, now we're stuck paying this guy $25 million when we're going to win about 23 games next year."
I think every team should do that to the Nets. If the Nets just start trying to throw out max offers, the team should just be like, you know what, dude? Go to Brooklyn. Have fun. I'll see you.
But isn't it, and this is going to sound like I'm making a joke, and I'm really not. When you have a restricted free agent and you sign him to a contract and the other team doesn't match him, don't you have to give them compensation in the form of a draft pick?
I know that's NFL rules. I have no idea.
I'm not sure about the NBA.
I could be mixing up my leagues. But I just thought that because I don't think the Nets have a draft pick until, 2032? Is that what you said it was?
Somewhere around ish, somewhere in that era.
But it's crazy because you got Otto Porter Jr. getting a max deal, and then you got JJ Redick, who's a nice player, a 1 year $23 million deal. He's making $23 million. He's making more than like any
Aaron Rodgers,
any top quarterback in the NFL. I mean, that's
Right.
nuts. That's nuts.
That's more what my point was, Jeff. Thanks for actually making it relevant. Was the fact that like who's more valuable to a team, JJ Redick or Aaron Rodgers? Like,
and all the money JJ Redick gets is guaranteed.
Right. Yeah. Right. He could blow out his knee this summer, never play a game for the Sixers, which happens to this time, right? And he's still going to collect that $23 million. I think it's a problem with the NFL. I mean, I understand that there's less games and there's more people on the roster, but they make more money too. Like something doesn't pass the smell test.
Yeah, right. And it's crazy that they only make money on 16 weeks.
Right.
Whereas the NBA is playing, games.
But
every day,
but for
national.
instance, not to butt in, but Derek Carr just recently signed that big contract. He's getting about $25 million a year or whatever. But only
that's Otto Porter money.
That's Otto Porter.
But listen. Only $40 million of that is guaranteed. So like he's only guaranteed money for this upcoming year, and then like $15 million the following year. If the Raiders want to cut him, they could just get rid of him. They don't have to pay him anything.
And then the Nets could sign him to a max offer sheet. And
then the Jets match the offer.
I said Nets. Yeah.
Jets, Mets, Nets, they're all the same.
You're forgetting that the
money-
Jets owner is no longer in the country, so we currently don't have ownership.
The money these guys are getting, it's freaking ridiculous. You telling me you could have JJ Redick, Otto Porter, Kyle Lowry's making like 30-something mil. These guys make more than like the top flight baseball players, pitchers. You telling me you can have Clayton Kershaw or Otto fucking Porter? Like, who's the bigger difference maker?
Well, Bryce Harper's going to sign about a $400 million deal soon.
And he's worth it.
Yeah, and he's one guy. Like,
Yeah, I know. It's just the culture, I guess, of basketball now.
But it's insane. It's too much. Like at a certain point, like I had made this point earlier. There's two things there, right? Everybody killed the Melo deal. The Melo contract right now is he's making $3 million more than JJ Redick is making. Okay, number one. So it's not a bad deal in this current landscape. Number two, this cable deal, like it eventually ends, and so like the years of these inflated salaries are going to go away, and I feel like the league is doing nothing to prepare for it. They're just
so
bad contract on top of bad contract.
Hypothesis: why don't we short the NBA contract market? And
good call.
So it seems like it's writing itself. Like we should. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to short the NBA contract market, but we should probably do that.
We need Yampo.
Whatever, Yampo.
Does the NBA need a hard cap? Like there's a salary cap, but everyone blows past it and then just pays a luxury tax. Like, do they need to implement something where it's more stringent?
They're probably going to.
Or do you go the other way
And no cap at all?
and just say spend whatever you want?
I don't think you can.
Why?
Saying you have these super teams all over the place. You're gonna have 3 teams that are relevant, and you're gonna have JJ Redick and Otto Porter leading up the Brooklyn Nets
With the team that's over the luxury tax limit somehow.
But it happened. I mean, baseball has no salary cap. Baseball, the parity in baseball seems to have worked out okay.
They do have revenue sharing though.
Okay, so you institute
Yeah.
that.
And you'd have to get, 30 owners to agree.
Jeff, I think you hit the nail on the head before when you said I think it's a problem with the NFL more so than let's look at the other leagues. I think the NFL just has a terrible system with the players. I don't know if it's the players bargaining or what it is, but they get screwed with all this money that's going around.
I also for the NFL too. Like I think you've got guys that are special teamers that are just basically the last 10 roster spots. Like those guys, as far as I'm concerned, like they can make $100,000. You know what I mean? Like, and like, let's just pay everybody else an obscene amount of money. Like there's no reason why every starting quarterback in the NFL that is of a Pro Bowl caliber shouldn't be making $30 to $35 million a year. It's insane. If Otto Porter Jr. can make that, Aaron Rodgers should be making it. I think there's something wrong with the leagues. I think they need to look at it. The last deal that I want to kind of discuss before we move on from the NBA, because we spent a good amount of time there. The Clippers, they dealt Chris Paul, quote unquote, dealt Chris Paul over to Houston. They also dealt Jamal Crawford over to, I guess it was Denver, and they got back Danilo Gallinari. So they're going to go into this year with Danilo Gallinari and Blake Griffin. So have fun with that, Clippers fans. Do you think that Chris Paul to the Rockets puts them, anywhere closer to actually competing with Golden State? Or are they still one massive move away?
Puts them like one baby step closer to competing with them.
I think it depends on how they adjust to each other, because I think the only way that'll work is if James Harden steps away from the ball, because I think Chris Paul can only work when he's like in full control of the offense, where I think James Harden can play off ball a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of gel together or mesh.
I don't think Harden runs the offense at all.
No, I think Chris Paul has to.
Yeah, I think he's going to. And I think the D'Antoni system, I think Chris Paul is going to have a Steve Nash like couple of years over there in Houston. His numbers are going to be ridiculously inflated because all they do is play offense, and he's a better defensive player than Nash ever was. I just don't get it. Like I don't understand why Houston was all in on making the move. Like you had Harden this year, who some people on this show argued was the MVP of the league.
He was.
He wasn't, but he should have been.
I don't get it. I don't get it wrong. I just fake news. I just don't get why you take away all that stuff that Harden had built this year and put it in the hands of somebody else. It just doesn't. To me, it seemed that they would have been better off going out and getting a couple perimeter shooters, spending that big cap money on a guy like
Otto Porter,
JJ Redick, $23 million. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Anybody have a differing opinion on that?
It'd be interesting to see how it plays out. I mean, I think they gave up a couple shooters to get CP3. So, to have losing that spacing, I mean, you got 2 playmakers, but I think you still need a big. I think you need someone who is a bigger wing and someone that can D up. I mean, it's not a D'Antoni philosophy, but someone's got to play defense.
Maybe. I mean, maybe they're going to try to score 200 points. And I know it sounds hyperbolic, but they might try to go a $150 every night. I mean, Harden ran the point all year for them last year. So maybe when Chris Paul's not on the floor, Harden runs the point. And then when Harden's not on the floor, Chris Paul's running the, like, you could legitimately do, just a sub in, and they could never play together, and you wouldn't lose a single beat in running your offense, which is nuts. I don't think they'll do it that way, but you never know. Anything else in the NBA you guys want to hit on? Anything that's happened or that you saw that you?
I think we talked enough NBA.
All right, good, because I've absolutely had enough of them. So.
Who cares?
It's time for Who Cares. Brett, do you have the rundown open? Do you want to take this first one? Because I think this is right in your wheelhouse.
I do. Don't know the story, but I'm on it.
Yeah.
So apparently Nike told Gronk that his logo is too similar to the Jumpman logo. So he had a little bit of an image problem with the Jumpman logo.
Yeah.
And even though Gronk's a Nike athlete, he's signed via Nike. I didn't see the logo, but I'm why wouldn't it be Gronk spiking?
That's what it is.
Okay. So
Nick, have you seen the logo?
Yeah, it looks like the way that his arm is when the spike is about to happen is like the same thing as Jordan, like extending his arm for the dunk.
So it looks like he's up in the air dunking.
Yeah, exactly.
It's before he spiked the ball.
Can you see this? Everyone see this? Is this working?
Yeah.
See. There we go. Hold on. Go back to Paul.
You
Start
good?
talking. Start talking.
Hey, Brett, what do you think of these logos right here?
Okay,
Are
you
they
know what?
similar?
I'll be honest with you. Looking at it now, I can see Nike's problem with it.
Right.
That makes sense. That's a poorly designed logo, if you want my opinion.
Well, to be fair, we need to get our turn to intellectual property attorney expert on the show to really educate our non-legal feeble minds as to whether it's close or not.
You can have them on, but there's no way I'd understand half of what
That's a good
they're
point.
saying.
They're close. I don't know. Paul, put it up and give us your take so we can see it while you're talking about it.
Who cares? I'm not falling for it.
Who cares?
Good job.
I've been away that long.
I would have fallen for that one. I would have
I
absolutely.
was
held
ready
it
for
up.
an explanation.
Brett, you put this one on. I think.
Yeah, I did put this one on. So we talk a lot, and especially in the with the upcoming Mayweather McGregor fight, we had a whole debate a couple weeks ago about boxing, and we kind of talked about if McGregor beats Mayweather somehow, then boxing is pretty much dead. And we were talking about how that's a bigger problem for boxing in general than it is for the UFC or MMA. So there's a big boxing weekend a couple nights ago where Horn faced off against Pacquiao on Saturday night, and what had to be one of the most ridiculous unanimous decisions that I've ever seen, almost going back to Pacquiao's first fight against Timothy Bradley. The same thing happened, and Horn was awarded the unanimous decision over Manny Pacquiao, and I think it was pretty clear that Pacquiao outpointed him, especially in the ninth round. Pacquiao really came on and landed some stellar punches. The same thing happened with Bradley and Pacquiao, and all it is just Pacquiao holds the rights to the the rematch clause, so it's just a way for them to just make more money. I hate when people rob other people, but I hate when people look other people in the eye and rob them. And that's exactly what boxing does. Is they just look you in the eye and they're like, everything we just said is bullshit, but you need to pay us again for it. And you're like, oh yeah, totally, I'll do that. And then they wonder why their sport isn't resonating with people anymore. But that was annoying to me, so I've already pontificated enough about it. But fuck boxing.
Did either of you, Paul or Nick, watch the fight?
No, I don't think it was appealing in the first place. Pretty much a no-name, as far as I'm concerned, fighting an aging boxer. I mean, I wouldn't pay for it the first time. I definitely won't pay for the rematch.
Well, it was on ESPN, so
Yeah.
nobody paid for it. But Nick,
Well,
did you watch it or no?
No, I saw the hype, the weigh-in, and then I saw the aftermath where there was some picture with Pacquiao was posing with, I think, his wife or something after the fight, and the other guy was like in the hospital bed or something. And they're like, "Well, how the hell did he win?"
Horn wasn't even convinced he won.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, on his body language when the announcer came, he was like, "Wait, really?"
Weren't some of the scorecards like 117, 111, like Horn? Like it was like ridiculously one-sided.
The judges, I think, were 2 117, 111. I think one was 115, 113. And then ESPN's and commentator cards were the exact reverse for the other fighter. Like they were 117, 111 Pacquiao.
That's why.
So
If they would just do what I've been saying for years, there's no points. You just keep going until somebody freaking dies. That's it. Just keep them in the ring and let them keep punching each other in the face until somebody falls down. It's like, you know what, I'm done. I can't go anymore.
Throw in the towel.
Or until Arnold Scullin just throws in the towel and Bob Backlund has to lose to the Iron Sheik. I mean, whatever it takes, that's how it works. Boxing,
Who cares?
yuck. I'm done with you. Ugh.
bye-bye boxing. On to the next one.
Major League Baseball umpire Angel Hernandez, who sucks.
Yes.
Is filing I don't think this is why he sucks, but apparently somebody on this thinks he sucks, is filing racial discrimination claims against Joe Torre and Major League Baseball for only promoting white umpires and discriminating against him.
I'll answer the second sentence, Jeff. Fuck this guy. And here's the thing. Here's what, actually, truthfully, I'm being 100% honest. Angel Hernandez, this stat was very telling to me. Since 2000, no crew chief has been promoted that wasn't white. Something's that's got to be looked into because, whatever, maybe for 17 years, nobody deserved it, but I find that hard to believe. That should be something that Major League Baseball looks into. But Angel Hernandez is one of the worst umpires I've ever had to watch.
So he's half right, though.
He's exactly, and it sucks. He's half right. I want him to take a look at this because I think that's ridiculous. I see umpires of different ethnicities all the time in games. They go over the umpiring crew every night. I would definitely probably sit there and lean to say that probably majority are white. But I don't think there's really an excuse for not promoting anybody that it wasn't white since the year 2000. That's a little insane to me. But Angel Hernandez, it ain't going to be you. Shut your mouth. You stink as an umpire, and take your racial discrimination lawsuit against Joe Torre and whatever.
Is he just suing Joe Torre, or is he suing the league too?
I don't know if he's suing just Joe Torre. I know Torre was named specifically
because he's what is his title?
I don't know. I'd have to do some Googling. Let's see.
Again, I'm screwing up the sports. Like I want to say like competition committee, but that's not what it is.
Executive Vice President of Baseball Operations. I was going to say President of Baseball Operations, but he's Executive Vice President of Baseball Operations.
He's the guy behind the guy.
So, but it is weird though. I mean, 17 years they've gone and promoted people, and not one crew chief has been promoted that's not white. That's alarming. I mean,
yes,
especially in such a high profile business like baseball. I mean, like the NFL has the Rooney Rule just to save face on that. I mean, that's not.
I completely agree.
That's not okay. But to your point, like this guy shouldn't be the guy waving the banner because he's bad at his job. You know,
That's it.
He didn't have a job at all.
Another guy who's not very good at his job, but I'd rather he take up the cause. CB Buckner. You can give it to him. Let this guy make the claim. I think what happens is that Angel Hernandez claims that there's a long simmering personal vendetta between him and Joe Torre. I guess there was a game in May of 2001, and Hernandez made a call, and I don't think Torre agreed with the call during the game. And after the game, Torre was asked about it, and Torre made a comment that Hernandez just wants to be noticed. And that was really it. I mean, Hernandez does, and I've heard that criticism of him before, so it's not something that's new or anything like that, or racially motivated, or things of that nature. But he's a bad umpire, plain and simple. Who cares?
Okay, we can do that.
Who cares?
This last one from me. 24-year-old Bernie Tomac lost at Wimbledon yesterday. In the middle of the match, he screamed out, "I'm bored," and reiterated it in the post-match press conference, where he basically was like, "I'm going to play till I'm 34, and I'm going to make enough money that I won't have to work again. I'm just really not all interested. It's a job, essentially." I'm on the fence with this one. It's like, am I angry with him, or am I like, good for him because he's like good enough to be on the tour, but then he can just mail it in and bail when he doesn't want to play anymore? Like, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't think have you ever seen anything like this before in a sport?
Yeah, I have.
You have? Where?
So I follow the NFL beat writers a lot, especially the Dolphins reporters, and they talk about how there's a distinct difference between players who love football and players who are there just for a job. And they said that it's very noticeable in the locker room and stuff who's like really loves football, who lives and breathes it, and who is there just for a paycheck and just to get paid for their family. And I don't know if there's necessarily anything wrong with that, because some of these linemen are there because they're 320 pounds, they're strong as hell, but they don't want to be that big. A lot of these guys wind up losing a lot of weight when they retire because they're like, well, I don't want to keep eating 6,000 calories a day or whatever and working my ass off just to stay big. I do it for the money.
Yeah, I hear that a lot, Nick. I agree with you. I think the only difference is that, Ryan Tannehill's not sitting there post game and going like, Ryan, you guys lost, 28-27, big, 2-minute drill broke down there. What happened? And he's not like, well, truthfully, I just don't give a shit. Like, it doesn't matter to me. I'm just, in this for the pay. As soon as it's over, the faster it ends, the better for me.
That sounds like a Josh McCown presser this year. He should just do that because he sucks anyway. It's like, I'm just here for one more payday. Fuck it. I'm Jake Miller.
That was 100% what I was thinking, man. It was like, I feel like I'm going to hear that every drive home from MetLife Stadium this year. It's like Bob Wischusen in the locker room. So, Josh, talk to me about it was 3rd and 14, and you guys were down by 4 touchdowns, and you just threw the ball directly into the dirt and screamed at the top of your lungs. How did you really feel walking off the field that time?
That was pretty good. Is Bernie Tomac the guy from Weekend at Bernie's?
Yes.
Or is it?
That was by far. I'm glad you brought up Weekend at Bernie's. That was by far my favorite Chris Christie meme from the weekend. By the way, was
really?
Weekend at Christie's, and it was just him on the beach and somebody holding up Bernie behind him. It was so damn funny.
I swear was his name Bernie. I swear it was Bernie something Mac.
Bernie Lomax.
Lomax.
Okay,
it's close.
All right.
Bernie Lomax.
All right.
See, but here's the problem with me, right? Is I have that at my fingertips. I have November 5th, 1955 is the day that Doc Brown invented time travel with the flux capacitor, but I absolutely could not tell you anything that matters in life. Like, if you were like, what day is the most important thing that ever happened? I'm like, I don't know. I can't tell you.
Like, September 11th, I can't remember what date it was, but it's sometime in September.
I feel like July 4th is pretty important.
Hey, listen, I got my flag right here. Okay, I believe
it's true.
The original Brexit.
That's right. Anyway, whatever.
Who cares?
There was some clamoring right now on Facebook Live that people wanted to talk about the new Rangers signee, Shattenkirk.
Boo.
I think
If I had a nickel for every overpriced Ranger free agent that's been signed in my lifetime, I'd be a fucking millionaire. So don't worry about Shattenkirk. He'll deliver just as many cups as all your other free agents did.
it's just a really bad, unfortunate name, right?
It
I
is.
mean, it leads you to like what are some of the worst unfortunate sports names? Like Dick Buttkiss has got to be on this thing.
Oh boy. Oh
Oh,
no.
no.
Oh Christ!
He's live. He's all right. What's up, buddy? Yo, we were just talking Shattenkirk.
Is that Rose?
Who's Shattenkirk? The fuck is Jay Bruce?
Yeah, but do you have a take? We're at the end of a segment here. Do you have a take on Shattenkirk or no?
Yeah, I got a take. Have fun.
Cares.
And for that reason, I'm out.
Nice. We're going to last licks here, ladies and gentlemen. Dustin Fowler.
Ugh.
Who wants to talk about this one at all?
Why was that electrical panel there?
God,
No.
that is just gruesome and unfortunate. I mean, you feel awful for a guy.
No.
Oh, Jesus.
He's back. He's back.
Oh,
I'm not going out like that.
Okay. Do you have any
Just, what's up?
you have any take on Dustin Fowler rupturing his patella tendon?
I'm not answering any questions. I'm just here to hang out and have some
Savvy bees.
rosé.
Rose.
Am I gonna get muted?
I don't know, but all we hear is your dinner in the background. It's worse than Nick's planes landing.
All right, Paul, go ahead. Give it to us.
I forgot what I was saying. No, it's just unfortunate. You really feel excited for a guy when he makes his major league debut. You want to see him, enjoy the night, perform well. And the real unfortunate thing is he was due to lead off. He didn't even get his first major league at bat in, and he's making a hustle play and just unfortunately hits a electrical
Whatever,
panel
yeah.
on top of a fence. I mean, just fucking awful and a gruesome sounding injury.
Yeah. Did any of you catch Girardi's face when it happened too?
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
He said he
He's like,
cried.
I give up. I give up.
I mean, they said open rupture, so he sliced his knee down to the patella tendon. That sounds pretty disgusting.
Oh my God.
Coming from someone who has some knee injury experience.
They just can't catch a break. They just can't. And it
Wait, say that again.
infuriates me.
What did
Did
they
you say the team with 27 world
No, this is
championships
just
can't
the
catch a
season.
break?
Let's take it this season. Don't worry about the past. Yankees have caught plenty of breaks in the past.
Our franchise is so unfortunate.
Oh, the guy that strikes out 50% of at bats is the fucking MVP candidate.
That was a small sample size.
That guy
Shut
got
up. Shut up.
he got DFA'd actually, that guy. Gary Sanchez in the home run derby, Aaron Judge in the home run derby. We expected Aaron Judge. We were hoping he would be in. But Gary Sanchez and Logan Morrison are really having a little bit of a Twitter battle right now. This
I'm
may be
supposed to
in the segment before, but
I'm supposed to lie on the side of Gary Sanchez on this, but I loved I absolutely loved Logan Morrison's line. He was like, I remember when I hit 14 home runs a month and a half ago. That's all right, dude, that's pretty funny. But he was also very real about it. He was like, I get it. I'm on the Rays.
He's like, they don't even put up my picture.
They put up the Corey Dickerson's photo when I'm up. So, it's not, at least he gets it. I don't see anything wrong with it. I thought he had some humor about it. I thought he was just expressing like, all right, dude, he's got 13 home runs. I mean, like, let's not.
God forbid an MLB player makes a joke or has some fun or anything. They did some kind of poll, the most recognizable baseball players or something. And the top 3 names were Derek Jeter, Babe Ruth, and someone else that hasn't played in years. So there's no faces of there's no face of the game right now. And that's a shame because there's a lot of good players out there. But I mean, let these guys have some fun. Fuck it. Go
Yeah.
Lomo.
Yeah,
Who do you think has less recognizable faces? Major League Baseball or the National Hockey League?
Definitely hockey.
NHL for sure.
Less.
You can't really see their face as much.
But I don't know, Paul. To your comment, do you think that that's because of bad league marketing for the baseball guys, or do you think it's just a transition?
I think it's a very regional sport. So people are tuned into their teams, and the Yankees have a brand, right? So that's kind of nationwide. But Aaron Judge will probably take off as someone that's recognizable all over the place. But you're not marketing Mike Trout. You're not marketing Manny Machado. I mean, Harper's out there a little bit, but I mean, Kershaw's the best pitcher we've seen in years, and no one outside of a baseball fan would know who he is.
You know who they really should start marketing?
Jay Bruce.
Angel Hernandez.
Otto Porter Jr.
Somebody should make a beer called Otto Porter Jr.
I will 100% get an Otto Porter Jr. jersey this year, wherever he signs, and I will wear it every night we podcast.
You won't do that.
I 100% will.
Did you know he was white?
Shut up. Is he? He's not white, is he?
You're the worst. Any last words, boys? Start with Paul. What do you got?
No, I'm good. Good to be back. Maybe I'll flaunt the golf towel next week.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Yeah. Geisinger.
Nikki.
Marcus Johansson signed with the Devils yesterday. Got him. They traded for him or whatever. They signed him. About $4 million a year or so. Should score some goals. So we'll see what that happens.
What's the salary cap in hockey? Like 13 million?
I think it's like 14.5.
He's a third higher salary cap. That's good.
I know you guys talked about it last week a little bit. That Devils, the first overall pick, whatever the fuck his name is.
Nico Hischier.
Yeah, he is plastered all over
Newark.
Prudential propaganda. They sent some workers and some fans out to the draft, and I gotta take a picture of this because it is like the most hick person.
Nice.
Next to this like 6'3" scrawny ass motherfucker, and he does not look like he's gonna thrive if he gets pushed around a little bit. He's got to put on some weight.
Well, since you brought up the Devils, I'll mention this one too. Apparently, Kovalchuk staying in the KHL. Apparently, he had some pressure from Vladimir Putin to stay in Russia. I legitimately read that was part of the situation. So I guess we gave Putin Trump, but he couldn't give us back Kovalchuk. That's not nice. Brett, anything?
Yankees need bullpen help, man. It is.
Today was disgusting.
It is slowly eating away at my stomach watching this night in and night out, and it's one thing if Tyler Clippard's blowing leads for you, which he blew about a half dozen last month. So it's not like it's not without him, but it's another problem when Betances and Chapman start blowing games for you, and Betances in typical Dellin fashion just loved walking the bases loaded today and seeing if he could wiggle out of it, and Toronto pushed a run across and
walked in a run.
Yeah. 4 walks in 1 inning.
Which is absolutely insane. And if that part of the Yankees isn't fixed and isn't fixed soon, because their lead already for the division is now down to like 4.5 games. Boston's ahead of them by 4.5 games or something. If that doesn't get fixed soon, then they really won't have much to play for in about a month. So they need help.
They need the All-Star break. So they need a couple days off, reboot, start over. Thanks for taking the time to listen, everybody. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on Stitcher. You can find us on TuneIn. You can find us on SoundCloud. You can find us anywhere now. We are legitimately in as many places as you could possibly fathom. So follow us on all our social media accounts at Turn2 Podcast. Our Snapchat is
lit.
Very lit. As they do each and every week, Ed Tang and the Chops taking us out. So until next time, folks, be good.
Desperandum, dear lady. Across the desert lies the promised land. Goodbye, Mrs. Gloop. Adieu. Auf Wiedersehen. Gesundheit. Farewell.
Fare thee well to you, my own true love. River Mercy, fare thee well. I am bound for California, a place that I know right well. So fare thee well, my own true love. When I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that's grieving me, but my darling, when I think of thee. Now I signed on a Yankee clipper ship. Davy Crockett is the name, and the captain's name, it is Burgess, and they say that she's a floating shame. So farewell, my own true love. When I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that's grieving me, but my darling, when I think of thee. Now I sailed with Burgess once before, and I think that I know him well. If a man's a sailor, he will get along. If he's not, then he's sure in hell. So farewell, my own true love. When I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that's grieving me, but my darling, when I think of thee. All right, Gio. Oh, the sun is on the harbor, love. Oh, I wish that I could remain, for I know that it will be a long, long time before I see you again. So farewell, my own true love. When I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that's grieving me, but my darling, when I think of thee. One more time. So farewell, my own true love. When I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that's grieving me, but my darling, when I think of thee.
Well, my hangover's gone and I'm thirsty for more.
Come on, hang on.
These hot guys